You're listening to Mundo in the Morning on 95.7 FM KCMO.
Taking you up till 9 o'clock on KCMO Talk Radio. It's a Thursday morning at this time. We do it every Thursday morning. Let's roll it.
It's time to Ask Mundo Anything on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
913-4087-957. That's how you join us on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. Let's start off with Karen in Kansas City. Karen, good morning. What's your question?
Well, first, let me say nobody knows your audience better than John and Mark. So my question is, have you ever considered letting John and Mark co-host the show while you take an office day, getting you home to your family 4 hours earlier? They know the audience. Why can't they co-host it for you?
They do know the audience very well, Karen. Thank you for the question. John and Mark know that they could fill in if they wanted to. John once said to me, though, he said, I think if I filled in, I would do a great rant on Laura Kelly, and then I would be like, what do I do for the other 3 hours and 50 minutes? Do you remember that, John?
Well, I do. My opinions come straight to the point because I did music radio, and they say, shut up and get to the point. So Mark would be riding a dump button in 20 minutes of a 4-hour show would get to the air, actually, I think, in my opinion, sometimes.
I mean, if you guys want to co-host a show, you can do it whenever you want, right?
I figure we're saving it for that day that Pete has a flat tire on the way to work or something like that.
John's saving his best 4 hours of his radio career for the day when I'm going to blow out a tire on the way to get here. That's what's going to happen.
See, we know the audience, so that's why we're not going to do it. Because I would talk about stadium issues for 4 hours or, local sports, and they wouldn't like that.
That's a good point. Yes. I mean, I want to hear it. But I don't think either of them really want to do it, to be honest. Not that they couldn't do it. I don't think it's necessarily their cup of tea. But, hey, these guys know whenever I take time off, they can be at the top of the list if they want. So now they're going to be sweating it out because Karen threw an idea into my head where I'm going to say, you know what, you guys do the show. I'll have somebody else come in and run the board for a couple hours for you, and you guys co-host in here. That would actually be incredible. But, until they start begging me, please, sir, please. Until they give me that, I'll just kind of roll with it. All right, let's go to
Ask Mundo Anything.
Let's go to Tim and Shawnee. Tim, go ahead.
Hey, Pete. Love your show. Wanted to get your opinion on this. Will Aldi Brand Obama, Mayor Q, run for Congress? And if he does, do you think he'll beat Mark Alford or not?
All right, good question there, Tim. I think he will. He said it. I asked him this morning. I said, we are, right around the filing deadline. It's March 31st. I didn't realize it was so soon. I think Kansas is like June 1. So he's got to decide in the next month, and you can listen to it on the podcast after the show. But he kind of said, I'll have an answer for you. You'll know something over the next few weeks. He also said he would not run against Emmanuel Cleaver. So he's not going to run in that new 5th district. He'll run in Mark Alford's new district if he does do it. And I think if nothing else, gets him some more attention, gets him on cable news. There's really no downside. He won't be expected to win. He'll be a sacrificial lamb. And maybe that builds up his credibility in the national Democratic circles around the country. There's no downside for him to do it. So 60-40 tells me he will do it. Do I think he can win? No, because of the makeup of the district. He might give him a little run for his money, but, he'll make Alford work harder than he would have otherwise. But I just don't think the makeup allows him to win. All right, next up, 913-4087-957.
Ask Mundo Anything.
Let's go to Tim in Harrisonville. Tim, go.
President Trump is very, very strategic, and he became a master at political chess. So do you think that the State of the Union, not only did he want to show Americans where America was at, but also he's using it as a platform to promote American pride because this is America's 250th anniversary?
Absolutely. The short answer is absolutely. I do think that, Tim, and I think he did it very well. The problem is that these things oftentimes do not last well beyond the 24-hour mark, unfortunately. But nowadays with social media, using them in clips, using them in ads, I hope that, that is something that people got out of that speech. Even if you don't love the guy in every policy, the guy does love the country. And he does put the American people first. And the only tweak I would have made on his speech is I would have moved all that stuff to the front. In the first 5 minutes, I would have said, before we get into anything policy-wise, please stand if you believe in putting American citizens before illegal aliens. I would have come out with that top of the speech because it was the most powerful moment, but it got buried 40 minutes in. Now, I know people have seen it and heard the clip and whatnot since then, but you've got the biggest audience out of the gates. And that was the most powerful moment of the speech. And putting that in the first 5 minutes, that's the only thing I would have changed about the other night. Only thing. All right, here we go. Let's go to Jay. He is in Blue Springs.
Ask Mundo anything.
Go ahead there, Jay.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I've noticed that people in radio often don't look like their voices. You actually do look like your voice. Have you met somebody who's the person you met that really does not look like their voice?
Oh man, that's a good question. Okay, I'll tell you who. Well, I don't want to say who because, to be honest, when I met this person, I was like, "That's you." So I'm kind of rolling them under the bus. But there's a lot of people in music radio in this town who I would say sound tougher, sound bigger than they actually come off and are in person, if that makes sense. And I don't
like
mean that. I'm not. What's that?
Like a Mike Tyson or something?
I'm not going to say who. I feel like it's very prevalent in music radio where you meet people and you're like, wait, that's that guy? I mean, am I wrong, John? You're laughing in there. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong.
Okay.
It's human nature. I mean, when I was a kid listening to the radio, you'd want to see something. And so there was a guy named Skinny Bobby Harper on WDAF. And so we go, a lot of times in the radio, Skinny Bobby would not be skinny, but this was a Skinny Bobby. So, that was my first impression going, oh, okay.
Oh, man, that's funny. That's good.
Social media has kind of ruined the radio a little bit as far as, not knowing what they look like.
I still do that with podcasters, too, though.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yes, that's true. Well, if you want to see me, I'm on Instagram at Pete Mundo. You can follow me there if you really want. But I guess he said I look like I sound. So I think that's a compliment. I don't know. I guess you can look. I'm going to take it as a compliment, okay? That's what I'll do. I'll take it as a compliment.
Since I've been looking in the mirror for 66 plus years, I sound like I look to me. But I can imagine people would have a different impression.
That's true. All right.
Ask Mundo anything.
Stephen Lansing, go ahead.
Pete, P1 listeners up here in Lansing, if you were asked, would you be willing to appear on that Thunderdome over on CNN? That Abby Phillips free-for-all. Maybe you could fill in for Scott Jennings.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Why not? What do I have to lose, man? I mean, I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I would be in that room. I'll tell you that much right now. So, absolutely. And heck, we do a minor version of that here when I'm on Kansas City PBS's Week in Review. So, it's not walking into that lion's den, but it's a local similar level. I'm always the only person with my viewpoint on the show. I know that. So, yeah, absolutely. That'd be, I think that'd be a lot of fun, actually. 913-408-7957. Let's do Lawrence, Edwardsville. Go ahead,
Ask
man.
Mundo anything.
Is the Nancy Guthrie clown show in Tucson related to the fact that an illegal alien kidnapped her, killed her, and Savannah Guthrie and NBC don't want to eat crow?
No. I mean, I don't, maybe an illegal, did have some involvement in this, but there's no way that the FBI, along with local officials, are covering it up because they don't want to make a political party look bad. That would, no way. Real quick, Jim in Blue Springs.
Ask Mundo anything.
Yeah, that's a two-parter.
Nope. One-parter.
Can you convince Kevin Keachman to run against Sharice Davids and then run a PAC to support him in the radio station?
No. We can't get into the PAC business here. Would Kevin run against Sharice Davids? No, his life's too good, okay? His life's too good. He's having too much fun. Why ruin it for this? Honestly. He's got a great life. That's the problem now with politics. Don't do it. That'd be my advice. But, I'm also selfish because I want him here. And he can't be here if he's running for office. 9 o'clock hour, what happened with Ice and Olathe next?
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. The show goes on.